Marine base there at Treasure Island.
Oh, in San Francisco.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Vallejo, California.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they was staying.
And your mom went there too?
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't go.
No,
Grandpa didn't.
Was this before you were born?
No, this is during the war.
Oh.
See, and I was in.
And
the,
you were.
I was in the in high school, in a junior in high school, I guess, when they went.
So you just stayed at home by yourself?
No, Johnny and Maeve. You know Johnny and Maeve.
Oh, I remember hearing about them.
They moved into my dad and mom's house, and I stayed there. And they were actually like my parents.
Yeah. Because your sister wasn't born yet, right?
She wasn't born until I got out of service.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think she was born before I got out. Well, it was pretty close.
She's like 4 years older than Jan, right? I think she's Ken's age, actually. 67.
I don't know.
I think she's 67.
Who's this?
His sister. She was like much, much younger than. I mean, you're basically an only child your whole life until you were an adult.
So I graduated when they were still in California.
What did they say about California?
Well, they liked it, but it was work for my dad. See, they shut the coal mines down. So he had to get a job, and he got a job in the submarine base. And he was electrician there.
How did you learn to be an electrician? Did you go to trade school or did you just learn?
Well, I was an apprentice electrician in 1943, as soon as I graduated from high school. I went to work in Western Cartridge Company in East Alton. And your grandma worked there too.
Oh, is that where you met?
No, I had met her. I was playing in a band in Bunnell. And anyway, I went to see her when I went to. Well, there was a Sears store downtown Alton, and your grandma was working there. She was working in the. See, I was working, and so was she, in brass specialty at Alton. We call it the Bullet Factory, but anyway, it was Western. And then when I went to service, when I come back, I found out she was working in Sears store downtown Alton. I went back to the Western, and I worked in the Western. And she also worked at the Western. And she worked there in the electrical department.
Oh.
But I mean, we didn't date or anything. You know? I just knew her. So anyway, what happened is she was working at the Sears store, but I'm trying to figure out when that transpired. I'm not sure how that worked. She was working at Sears, and I think I was working at the Western in the electrical department. See, in the beginning, we both worked in the specialty department.
Yeah.
And then when I come back, then's when I went to. She had changed jobs or something, I don't know. She was working in Sears, and I was looking for a bathing suit for another girl. The next day we were supposed to go swimming, and I was looking for a bathing suit. And I went to Sears, and then I found out she was working there, and I stopped by to see her. You know, because I knew her ahead of time.
Yeah.
Is that the girl that Grandma Byer used to keep the picture on her fireplace of?
No. That was the one I was engaged to. Yeah.
Oh, you were engaged to her? Another one? I didn't know that.
She dumped me and she married a doctor. So anyway, reason I got involved with your grandma was her mom and dad lived in Gillespie, and she was living in Alton. And she was going home that weekend, and I went with her. You know, I think I drove her back or something, I don't know. We had a date anyway. And then it just, one thing led to another, and I got involved with her somewhere or other.
Well, that's a totally different story than she always told us.
What did she tell you?
Yeah, this is not what I heard.
She told every one of your daughters because she was trying to give us a message. She said that she was on a date with you before the war, and you got fresh with her, and she slapped you. And so then when the war was over, she was the first girl you looked up because she wouldn't let you get fresh with her. And so that's why, you know, you looked her up first.
That don't sound right.
We never believed it either, Dad.
No, because I was going with Shirley Bortles. Even during the war, I was getting letters from her and everything else.
I even remember hearing that story from Grandma.
She wanted us to not, like, have boys, you know, get fresh with us.
Well, I don't even remember taking her out before the war.
That's so funny.
I don't remember. We used to sit out on the dock at the Western, and that was before I went to service. As soon as you graduated from high school, the jobs were there because of the war, and I went to work right away. You know, as soon as I graduated, and then I wasn't long working at the Western when I went to service.
So what was the company? You said it was, people called it the Bullet Factory?
Oh yeah, but
Did they just
Western
make
Cartridge Company.
So did they make bullets?
Yeah.
Actually?
Well, they didn't load them, but they made the shells.
Yeah.
But then she had asked you about your training as an electrician, but then you went to the University of Minnesota for some electrical training.
Well, yeah, that was the engineering course that the electrical engineers was taking, and that was at the university, and that was because I was already in the service. Yeah, I had a choice. Either I could be a musician or I'll take electrical training. Either way. See, and I decided being an electrician is a trade, and I better take that. My dad's an electrician, my uncle's an electrician, my grandpa was a hoisting engineer, you know, and so I thought that's the best way to go.
That was a smart decision, Dad, because you were able to do both.
Yeah.
And then when I come back from service, I had already been working at the cartridge company, so my job was secure. I went back there, and she was still working in the electrical department where I was electrician at. but I transferred out of there and went into the brass specialty, I think it was, or something. In the brass mill, I think it was. And I stayed there until I got a job at Shell.
So you had a lot of years at Shell.
38, yeah.
Was Grandpa already there when you got there?
Yeah. Wasn't supposed to be. See, he wasn't supposed to hire relatives. Well, it so happened Uncle Kurt worked there, and my dad worked there, and in the roll of the bars, there were 3 of them right in a row. So I don't know. Evidently, somebody just ignored it, that you're not supposed to have relatives work there, see.
Well, it's a good thing.
And both of us, well, Uncle Kurt and my dad and me, my dad was there 25 years, you know. And Kurt was there a long time. He was a barber.
A barber?
Yeah. He worked in a quality, or not quality, up to Quaddy Hotel. The Quaddy Hotel, my Aunt Eleanor was a maid there in that hotel. That's where she worked. She lived on the farm with the Joneses, you know, lived on the farm with Beva and Eleanor and Joe. All of them lived on the farm.
Well, you mean Uncle Kurt was a barber besides working at Shell?
He was a barber before he worked at
Oh,
Shell.
okay.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
He's the uncle you're closest to, right? Kurt? No?
He's uncle.
You were really close to him, right? No?
What are you saying?
When you were younger, he was
Yeah.
like your favorite uncle?
No, he wasn't necessarily my favorite uncle, but he was a close
I don't know where I got
relative,
that.
you know. I mean,
Yeah.
We always liked him a lot.
We had
Maybe that's what I'm
we
thinking.
had a lot of buyers, you know. Gee. But Kurt was a good barber, and he barbered in the Quaddy Hotel. He had his barber shop there, and I actually, when I was in the 8th grade, I worked for him. I
Doing what? Clean the floors and stuff?
cleaned the spittoons and scrubbed the floors, shined shoes. I had a shoe shine shop there. I had a chair, and I had special customers come in every Saturday night. One guy, Gau's moving, and they hauled coal and stuff. Let's see, Gao, I'm trying to think what they called him. Anyway, Hugo, I think.
Hugo.
But anyway, dirtiest people you ever saw, because he was in the coal business. They never washed or anything. See. But Saturday night, he took a bath. He come in the barber shop. He got his hair cut. He shaved. New white clean shirt and suit. He got his shoes shined. And he always tipped me good when I shined his shoes. And he went over to the whorehouse. Saturday night.
Was there a whorehouse in Staunton?
Huh?
Was there?
Yeah, they had a big house out there on the other side of. You remember where the Illinois Lumber Company was?
Yeah.
Well, across the tracks, just as you got across the track, there are about 3 houses on the right side. When you go by, their house was there, and it was a big house and a big barn-like building where they kept they moved people, you know.
Yeah.
And they hauled coal, and they were pretty wealthy. Because they're a moving company, and they hauled coal. That was big business back in those days.
Who knew? Staunton had a whorehouse.
No, they didn't.
Bunnell was
No.
It wasn't, it was in Bunnell.
Oh, okay.
and Bunnell was a hopping place.
Bunnell and the Coliseum, and see, Bunnell at one time was a hangout for gangsters, Al Capone and all that.
Oh,
See,
really?
Chicago, little Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. They had more bars in that
they
place.
had on each side of Coliseum Ballroom, they had whorehouses on both sides of the road. There must have been. And then they had Bob's Club and the New Dan and all those nightclubs downtown.
Mm-hmm.
This is back right before the war.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Bunnell was a pretty busy place
Yeah.
at one time.
Yeah.
There were a lot of bars even when I was in high school.